Make this beautiful plaid pooling throw, the Blackwatch throw from Premier Yarns, made with their new Everyday Plaid yarn. Let's begin. Plaid pooling is all the rage to make a beautiful plaid from a variegated yarn. Hi, I'm Kristen Mangus with GoodKnitKisses, and I'm really excited to present to you Premier Yarn's new plaid pooling yarn. This is Everyday Plaid, and we are working with 4 colors in here in a variegated yarn that change beautifully to have beautiful new designs. There's all kinds of new colors, so you're going to want to click on the link to get yours. Today I'll be working on the Blackwatch throw in the navy green plaid, as well as a crochet hook, an I9 5.5 millimeter. And you'll also need scissors and a tapestry needle. To download your pattern, be sure and click on that link in the description. Premier Everyday Plaid has some general notes and tips you should know before you start for a successful plaid pulling project. Rather than calling for an exact gauge and specific number of stitches, this pattern adjusts to your own gauge to make plaid pulling easier to start. You don't need to go up or down on the hook size, and you don't need to change the stitch type to get the colors in the right place. The colors should shift 1 stitch each row, either forward or back, to get the pulling effect. To be successful, the most important thing is to have consistent gauge throughout the pattern. Now you can achieve that, but letting your tension loosen or tighten mid-project will cause the pulling pattern to change. So I recommend having a project to the side using the same linen stitch pattern we'll use in a solid color so that you can work out your tension before you begin. Whether you've had a stressful day or a super relaxing day, you can work out your normal gauge and your normal tension, and then you can put it down after a few rows and start on your plaid pooling project. All right, let's dive into the foundation chain and more tips along the way. Your Blackwatch throw is going to be approximately 42 inches by 56 inches, and that depends on your personal gauge. And we've got 2 balls of plaid that you need. I'm working with navy green plaid, so you'll need 2 balls of that. And you're also going to need 8 balls of a solid color that goes down below and above to surround your plaid. I'm going to use color mist so that you can see it in this gray color, but you'll want navy if you want to match these colors and the pattern. Let's look at this foundation chain. You can see how it's longer than my actual crochet work, and that's because we need to work through this color sequencing. So you can see this foundation chain works through 4 different colors. We've got black, blue, green, and gray. We're going to do that here in a second, but I want you to see that it clearly changes black, blue, green, gray, and then it changes again to black, blue, green, gray, and it keeps going. So you're going to want to go through 6 of these sequences. So when I tell you in a second to go through that, you'll know what I mean. And then the color sequencing won't matter on this beginning foundation as much as it will on this very first row that will begin right after. All right, now that you've seen that, grab your hook and yarn and let's begin. As you can see, I've shown a color change here in front of you with the black, blue, gray, and green, and then back to black again. So I want to pick out my clear color change, and again, I say that it goes from the gray to the black. And so I'll take my yarn and go ahead and cut off all the extra right before that and start my slip knot here. And we do need to work through 6 color sequencing. I like to start with, when I count, with my black. And so if you will go ahead and pull out all your strands enough for a full sequence of 6, when you get to the 7th black one, you can actually put a little safety in here by putting a slip knot right in the middle of your strand, and then when you get to that point, you'll know that you've gotten far enough. So you're going to go through the sequencing until you get to the 7th one where the black is coming through. So you finish all of the gray, and then that last loop on your hook is going to be this black, and we will begin. So let's start our slip knot. Make it however is easiest for you. And when I chain, I like to chain just one at a time on this particular one, because the gauge, your own particular gauge and consistent one, is so important. I just pull through 1 stitch at a time, and I can go relatively fast that way, instead of, let's say for instance, I chain and then keep holding my thumb in place and then go through like this. I've found in the past that sometimes I get either way too loose here and then it might be tight up here. So I would rather just pull through one at a time. Go ahead and pause your video, make all your chains, and I'll meet you back up soon. All right, I'm pulling through where my color change is for the last time, and we're going to work into, for row 1, the 3rd chain from the hook. So don't count what's on the hook. We're going to count down 1, 2, 3. We're going to single crochet, so insert in through that chain, pull up a stitch, get your single crochet by yarning over and pulling through 2. Now we're going to chain 1, and then we'll skip 1 chain and go into the next chain and single crochet and chain 1. So you'll continue that sequence by skip 1 chain, single crochet into the next chain, and chain 1. Okay, you're going to go through the foundation and repeat this color change until it's got 6 complete color changes, and when you reach the 7th part you stop, and I'll meet you back up. So be sure you're being really consistent on here. Don't pull too tightly, more than you would for a normal project, and you'll get your color sequencing right. I'll meet you back at the end of that and go on with the rest of the row. See you soon. I'm coming to the end of row 1 until we've repeated our color change 6 times. And when you pull up that last color change, you can see right here where I've already got the next color coming through. We're going to rip back 2 to 3 stitches until we get to the last single crochet. So take that chain off and insert your hook back in. And now we're just going to turn our work and chain up to start row 2. Chain 1, 2, and now we're going to look at this chain 1 space right here. Okay, so there's our single crochet, and we're going into that chain 1 space and single crochet there. Pull up a stitch, got our single crochet and chain 1. Now you can see that our color has changed. Okay, it is shifted over where the ending of my black is. Okay, I'm going to use the colors that's on mine. If yours is different, obviously you're going to look at whatever you end with here. So the end of this chain down here on the foundation is now shifting over, and I have this turning chain here in the new color. Okay, so we have we've shifted over our black, and now we're going to go into the next chain 1 space and single crochet and chain 1 and continue going down the row until we reach 1 full color sequence here. And then I'm going to pause and show you a technique that's going to help you establish your row 2 really well. So just continue working single crochet, chain 1, and I'm just going to continue talking as I crochet this, and you do too. If you need to, pause your video, use your controls to slow down or speed up as needed. But the unique part about this pattern that keeps us to where we don't have to do any kind of measuring of gauge, where you count how many stitches in an inch and that kind of thing, or change our hook up or down, is it works with your tension. So if you tighten up, you're going to get more stitches in your color sequence. And if you loosen up, you'll get less stitches in your color sequence, which if you go through them and you find that you have not shifted over properly, then you will, your pattern won't show up right. So I'm going to show you how to have a little cheat, and this number sequence is really going to help you establish your row 2 and 3. Row 2 and 3 are the most critical to get your patterning right. All right, so I've come down to the end, and you can see where my new color changes. I'm going to set this down and show you a sequence. So if you look at your foundation, I can see my foundation right down here. It jumps up to our first color, okay? Our first color changing. So I can count out how many stitches are in that first color change. Okay, this is a color sequence, the pattern sequence. So I'm going to count how many stitches. So we got 1, 2, I'm just counting single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and it stops where that gray is, and then the next sequence starts. So if I count this out, it's going to be 20 or 19. So it'd be a give or take a number from the last one over, and so on down the row. Now, if you notice, mine's a little shorter than yours. It's because I'm only doing 3 repeats on mine, so mine's about half the width of yours. So you're going to come over here, and you can actually count out in row 2 and 3 how many is in your sequence. So if I look at this one where the black starts, not where the gray, but where the black starts here, I can count out and see if I'm around 20, give or take 20 or 19. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. See, I'm right at 19, and that sequence is there, and I can see that I'm keeping my gauge. Right. Now, you also can see how this row 1 here has a black, and then I'm about to start a black. The row right below it isn't going to be the part where we're looking for the color shifting to change. I'm going to show you on this other sample where you're going to look for this color shifting. It's critical for your row 2 to be correct or start off correctly like this in order for row 3 to begin to start matching up with row 1. Let me show you what I'm talking about on this bigger sample here. So on this bigger sample, you can see how this black here is not directly down below on the first row. So this is the third row here, and then the first row. They're directly above each other. Okay, they're lined up. Offset is the row directly below it. So you're not going to look at the row below it. You're looking at 1, 2 rows down. So you can see that's black is shifted forward versus this blue. And then if I go 2 more rows up, the black shifts over 1 more time. So it starts making this diagonal here. The same thing happens with this green. This green is 1 stitch back up here than it was down here. And this one goes this way. So you can see how it starts developing these big X's and makes that plaid shape. We're going to continue on, and you'll want to go through all the way down to the end and meet me back up, and we'll go on to row 3. See you soon. At the end of row 2, and I want to go into this chain 2 space here so I can see a little V-stitch of my single crochet. I'm going to go right into that stitch there, or that space, pull up a stitch and single crochet, and that will complete my row. And now we're going to turn our work and chain up 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to continue our sequence of some single crochet into this chain 1 space here, and I should get that same color that I just chained up with, and chain 1, and then my next color should change into the new color. All right, so now you can see that I've got a black color here, and down 2 rows down I can see that it has shifted. So you can see this black is here, and right above it is the gray, and then we've shifted over to the black. This is that first critical part. So row 2 will set you up successfully for row 3. And so once you get row 3 established, it should be easier to continue shifting. So it doesn't always work out this perfectly. You can go back and let's say you, let me look at my work here. We're going to go back and look at our counting. So if you're off by a little more, like say you crocheted over and you have 2 more of your old color and then you have the new color coming in here, that means your stitches might have gotten a little too loose on the previous row, and so you can kind of frog back and check that. And one way to check it before you start just ripping out a whole row is you can go back and check how many are in your color sequencing. So we've got our color sequence and we count across, and I had actually when I was off camera I counted, I had 20 through here just like I had before, and then it started over with my next and I had 20 again, and then I had 19 in another one, so it was about the same as what my sequencing was before. And then when we came up to this next row, it was correct. So say we had to go backwards, we would just pull out our stitches and pull back to where that sequencing was off a little bit and try and either make our tension a little looser or a little tighter, just in that one little spot there, because it may have been that we just got a little loose. So I'm going to continue on with my sequence and finish out my rows. You're going to continue with the same row 3. Repeat that until you have gotten 12 inches. And I'm going to pull out my sample here and show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so as it starts developing, you're going to start seeing, as you get to about row 7, you can really see the pattern develop, and it'll stop about right here. And so you'll be able to see this clear division of where these angles go, where you can start seeing that it's really shifting. So you'll have some colors shifting this way, while other colors, if you look at this green, it's shifting this way. And see, the blue is right on top of it going that way, right? And then you have the gray going the opposite direction. So you're going to repeat with row 2, which is the same as row 3 you just did, until your piece measures 12 inches. And I'll join you back up for the next step. See you soon. Let's talk about coming to the end of your first ball and you need to tie on the second ball or skein. When you begin a new ball, change the ball where the yarn changes color to match the new ball to the old ball, and that ensures the pattern doesn't get disrupted. So my new ball starts at the gray, going into black and blue and then green, and I'm at the blue and green part right here. So I'm just going to pull that part out. I'm laying it on this white surface so I can see it for myself a little bit better, and lay both of these out together, and I'm just going to pull it until it matches up right about where that color change is. I see it's kind of heathered into the next color, and then it's fully blue here. So that's where I'm going to decide to grab it. So I'm going to hold on to this first stitch here. Make sure that my tail is on the bottom and kind of get it pinched together right about where this is. Okay, so this is where my stitch is. I've got my single crochet and 1 chain ready to go into the next single crochet. So I'm going to lay this tail towards the front so I don't grab it. And I've got my new ball up top because my finger is going to go around like that. And so that way I can grab it as I normally do. And I'm going to hold it again and take this old tail, I'm sorry, this is the beginning tail of the new ball, and I'm just going to kind of put it around in the front like this. Okay, and what that does is it puts it on top of the work with the other tail as I go, and it'll work both of them in at the same time. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this onto my fingers and get my hook. And then we're going to begin by going into this next chain space and yarning over. Let's see, go in. Where's the chain space? There it is. Chain space, and we're going to yarn over and pull that stitch on through, and then yarn over and pull through again. Okay, now this top one's a little loose and I can pull on that strand. So I'm going to just hold on to this and pull on to these 2 strands here. And make sure, there we go. So now it's made that yarn nice and secure. And then we're going to go ahead and chain up with our pattern, and then hold on to the other 2 tails. Just let them lay onto the top as you work. And you're just going to go into the next chain space and single crochet as you normally would, and chain. So you're just going to continue on as you normally do, except you're just going to make sure that these tails are woven in as you go. And once you get about 3 or 4 inches in, then let the tails just drop off, and then you can clip them with your scissors when you're ready, and then you won't have any tails to weave in. And that is all there is to it. And I've got my color patterning still going strong with my green. I've got it going back 1 stitch here, so we're still in the same color patterning that we needed. All right, pause your video and finish until that 12 inches, and we'll see you on the next step. All right, we have finished our 12 inches, the last row for mine, and to fasten this off, we just want to go ahead and yarn over and pull through and cut our yarn and weave in our tail. And then I want to go ahead and show you how to handle the foundation chains that are from the beginning. I think it's better to go ahead and weave these tails in personally before you move on to fastening on the new color. So Join me for fixing that foundation row here in a moment, and then we'll come back to adding on the color onto this end. See you soon. So this beginning chain here, the foundation chain, is what we need to take out, and we're going to stop it right up here and weave in our tails. In order to take that out, all you need to do is undo this slip knot. So we're just going to undo this beginning loop, and if you've got a blunt tapestry needle, it might not get in as easy as, say, one that's a little sharper. And just keep, whoops, don't want to do that. Yep, there we go. Just pull on that. And then if you see this loop like this, if you end up pulling on the tail, it will make that slip knot again. So you've got to keep pulling out loop by loop. And if yours is really long, that's normal. Mine's just a little shorter. And so I'm coming to the end here, and I want to get this last gray out of here. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull on that and tighten it up, and it is ready for us to weave that in. All right, and so you're just going to go in with your tapestry needle. Of course, this is my small sample here. But you're just going with your tapestry needle and pop it in to this last stitch and start following along where the color is that's the same. And then when you get up to the next color change, you can jump up to the next row where that happens. I like to go in underneath these V stitches here in the same color change right here, and then as it starts changing, I can jump up to the next row that has that same color in it. So now that I'm in the gray, I'll jump up to behind these stitches here and follow along until you reach enough length, 3 or 4 inches, and then trim that up, and you're ready to now add on your new color. All right, pause your video and get your new color. I'll see you in a moment. We're ready to join with color B, and we're going to be adding on to this end where we had finished before, measured the 12 inches. And I'm going to show you how to start it without starting with a slip knot, and you can pull through your new color with the new yarn before you finish and weave in the tails, but I like to do it this way. I'm going to take my tail, and normally I wrap my yarn like this to feed in with the new yarn, so I can do that same thing here, and I've got my tail at the front of my finger, and I'm going to go around to the back like this, put my hook through my stitch where I want to pull it up, and pull through a stitch just as I would here. And now I can yarn over as usual and slip it this way and pull it tight, and now we have a little slip knot here instead of actually making one. So I'm going to go and turn my work and lay my tail at the top edge, and it's going to get worked in, and go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and we can begin with our sequence of going straight into that chain 1 space. Go right here, make sure that our tail is on top of our work, and pull up a stitch, yarn over, pull through the 2, and you've got your single crochet. Go ahead and chain and continue going into those spaces as you have done before with the linen stitch, and you'll continue until you get 48 inches. So make sure that you have your tape measure handy. Make your linen stitch until you've reached 48 from the very beginning edge here with the plaid. All right, pause your video and I'll see you soon. Okay, we've reached the end of our 48 inches, and we're just going to yarn over and pull through and cut our tail here, just as we've done before. And you can leave this tail to fasten it in later. We're going to go over to the other side. So we've got the beginning edge, and we're going to join up with color B again. Same thing before. Put your yarn around your finger with the tail in the front, and go into that first stitch there. Go into that black, a little tight. All right, come to the back and pull through, and then yarn over, pull through to get that little slip knot there to begin. And now we can turn our work and chain up, 1, 2, and then start going into that chain 1 space here. Now this chain one space is not really a chain one space, it's from the beginning edge, so you may need to kind of push your hook in there to get it right. Pull through, single crochet and chain across. And you may not like this tail laying here. You may want to not trap it in and lay it to the back, and then weave the tail in later up here. Okay, so if you didn't like that join before, you can always pop it out on the other side. I'm just going to leave mine out there. So just continue going across until you have reached 56 inches from the beginning gray on the other side. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, we're on the last part. We've got 56 inches, and just go ahead and cut your yarn and pull that on through and weave in your tails. I hope you enjoyed making your Blackwatch throw with the Premier new Everyday Plaid yarn. I think it's gorgeous. I hope you checked out the video before. If you haven't, it is the fringe plaid scarf, and it's only got one repeat, so it's going to be a little more simple than this one that you did. So be sure and check that one out, as well as clicking on that link for all the other colors that you can get. On behalf of Premier Yarns and Good Knit Kisses, that's me, we are wishing you happy crochet and happy plan pulling. Bye-bye.